Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this. Today we're unpacking something I like to call the compliment trap, and more importantly, how to unlock true affirmations in MI. As practitioners, our words are literally our most powerful tools. But sometimes the subtle, everyday phrases we use to build clients up actually do the exact opposite. They shut them down. Picture the scenario. You're a new counselor, you've got a client sitting across from you, and you really want to encourage them. So you say something like, "You're doing great," or "I'm proud of you for coming today. That took a lot of courage." You say it with total warmth, but the client just kind of nods politely and then crickets. Nothing moves. The conversational momentum just completely stalls out. The air leaves the room. You meant well, for sure, but the connection just didn't land. Right, so that awkward, stagnant, clinical moment leads us to the central question of our entire explainer today. What is the actual difference between a compliment and an affirmation in MI? And honestly, why does it even matter? Because, make no mistake, it matters deeply. That polite little nod you received, that wasn't just a quiet client. It was a symptom of a mismatched intervention. When we blur the lines between generic praise and a true affirmation, we miss this vital opportunity to build up a client's self-efficacy, their actual genuine belief in their own ability to change. So let's look at exactly what went wrong. Let's move to and see how this builds. Let's revisit that opening scene and fix it. Listen to that initial well-meaning phrase, "I'm proud of you for coming today." That is a classic compliment. It's nice, but it's inherently about the counselor's feelings. Instead, contrast that with, "You took a big step in coming here today." Wow, do you feel the difference there? This true, grounded affirmation completely removes the counselor's judgment and places the focus entirely on the client's action. It acknowledges the effort without passing a verdict on it. The client doesn't have to worry about pleasing you, they simply get to reflect on their own accomplishment. To really hammer this home, let's look at a second super common clinical scenario. Imagine a client comes in and they share an attempt at a behavior change that, ultimately fell short. They say, "I tried to cut back for 2 days, but I did end up back at the bar." This is a delicate, high-stakes moment. The client is vulnerable, they're probably feeling pretty defeated, and they're waiting to see exactly how you're going to react. Your response right here can either foster their motivation to keep trying, or it can completely confirm their deep feelings of failure. This brilliantly illustrates the hidden danger of hollow praise. If a counselor simply says, "You're so smart to try cutting back," it feels totally disconnected from the client's reality of ending up at the bar. It feels hollow, right? Maybe even a little patronizing. But listen to a real MI affirmation in that exact same moment. You made a good faith effort and learned a lot from that experiment. See, it doesn't ignore the setback. Instead, it deliberately highlights the strength, the effort, and the persistence the client actually demonstrated. It reframes what they see as a failure into a stepping stone, and it's grounded entirely in what the client actually did. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how vividly you can feel the difference between the two approaches through these examples. One totally stalls the conversation, the other bursts it wide open, which forces us to ask the big question. Why are affirmations completely different from compliments on a fundamental level? Well, to understand the mechanics behind this, we have to look at how human beings naturally respond to being evaluated, even when that evaluation is meant to be positive. And that brings us to a really fascinating insight from Thomas Gorton's 12 roadblocks to active listening. Among all the common responses that actually hinder communication, you'll find something pretty shocking. Agreeing, approving, or praising is actually categorized as a roadblock. Yes, praising. While we think we're being so helpful, praising actually sets up an authoritative dynamic. It implies that the counselor is the expert judging the client's behavior. And when a client feels judged, even positively judged, it can completely shut down their own internal exploration and make them totally dependent on your external approval. So, the crucial point is that this shift is structural. Compliments are almost always I statements that evaluate. "I think you're smart. I am proud of you." They center the counselor's judgment. Affirmations, on the exact other hand, are you statements that describe. You worked hard. You made an effort. By simply swapping out that pronoun from I to you and shifting the action from evaluating to describing, you instantly center the client's reality. It's like you step completely out of the judge's chair and become a mirror, just reflecting their own capabilities right back to them. Okay, let's break down the exact mechanics derived from the source material so you can construct these flawlessly every single time. First up, focus on specific behaviors. Don't just say, "You're great." Say, "You kept going to your meetings even when you were discouraged." Second, absolutely avoid using the word I.
Keep the spotlight entirely on them. Third, emphasize descriptions instead of evaluations. Basically, describe what they did rather than assigning a grade to it. And, crucially, this is a pro tip to instantly enhance the authenticity of your affirmation. Repeat the client's exact words. If they said they fought hard to get out of bed, you say, "You fought hard today." Weaving their own language back to them proves you were truly listening, and it validates their effort no matter how small. When a counselor nails these mechanics, the client feels truly, deeply understood.
Because when you execute a true affirmation using those mechanics, you're sending a profound underlying message. According to the source material, a true affirmation essentially says to the client, "I see you, what you say matters, and I want to understand what you think and feel." It is the ultimate expression of empathy and positive regard. You aren't just cheering them on from the sidelines like a cheerleader. You are actively finding their strengths, holding them up to the light and showing them to the client. This builds their self-efficacy, that deep-seated confidence that they actually have the tools necessary to make a lasting change in their lives.
We've definitely covered a lot of ground today, moving from the hollow trap of the generic compliment all the way to the empowering structure of a true MI affirmation. But hey, knowledge is only useful if we actually apply it, right? So I want to pivot to a highly actionable challenge for your very next clinical encounter. In your very next counseling session tomorrow, can you catch your next "I'm proud of you" right before it leaves your mouth? And then, can you seamlessly replace it with a specific, descriptive "you" statement? Think about it. Can you shift from evaluating their progress to reflecting their strength? Try it. Watch the client's posture change. Watch the conversation completely open up instead of shutting down. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and good luck putting these true affirmations into practice.